Hi, and welcome to this beautiful day wherever you are. So, today I want to talk to those who are impatient about the results of something that they have started, the person who quit before they finished, and the one who is about to begin something. This topic is finish what you start. Life is like panning for gold. You have to wash away a lot of sand before finding that little nugget. So it's what you learn and find in the process of doing something. Somewhere in your hustle, you'll find a sweet spot and little nuggets that will get you to the next thing. I've noticed that finishing what you start earns you some self-respect and it also builds you confidence to carry to the next thing. So if it takes you 12 years to earn your college degree, so be it. So in the end, that degree or that paper is not going to read, this is a 12-year degree. No, it won't. Recently, I came across a headline, and the headline read something like, "Man breaks the world record for the slowest marathon." And I was like, oh, it gave me some pause. So it made me think about how life is about starting and finishing your race. So if your best is ranked last, you ought to be proud of yourself for finishing. For it isn't about winning, it's about the process. They say done is better than perfect, and perfect never gets it done. So if you've been listening to my broadcast for a while, you notice that I love sports analogies. So I have one today. The year Kipchoge came, the older Kipchoge, the year he won 1500 meters of gold in Mexico City way back in 1968. It was historic. And there was a remarkable man as well from Tanzania who made the headlines. Not because he won, but because he demonstrated great sportsmanship. So this man ran a full marathon. His name is Stephen Akwari. After running 30 kilometers, he suffered a severe leg injury and fell to the ground. So the Olympic officials, they rushed to his rescue and asked him to stop the race, but he refused. So with his knee bandaged, he picked himself up and limped one step at a time to the remaining 12 kilometers to the finish line. So he was the last man to cross the finish line 1 hour after the winner. And he collapsed in the finish line. As soon as he was able to talk, a news reporter asked him, "Mr. Aquari, why didn't you drop out of the race?" To which he responded by saying, "My country did not send me to start the race. They sent me 5,000 miles to finish the race." Isn't that amazing? Finishing, getting something done. It is not about perfection. So let me ask you, are you sometimes impatient with your results and you just want to give up because you're not the best? Think of Mr. Aquari. He had all the reasons to step aside, but determined, he finished. Personally, I've had my days when I doubt the impact of my online resources. On a bad day, this sudden urge to quit overwhelms me, especially when the outcomes are vague. But I often remind myself, I was not called to start. I was called to finish my race. So you have to follow through something until it's done. You gotta tell yourself sometimes, come hell or high water, I'm gonna finish this. It earns you some self-respect and it builds confidence to get to the next best thing. So sometimes you just gotta show up through your pain and through your struggles. And you gotta continue to fight no matter your circumstances. You limp your way to the finish line and set yourself up for the next victory. Apostle Paul said, "I have finished the fight." So what will it take for you to say that? Some days it will take fighting your way up at work, fighting to stand when you fall. Like a child stumbles learning to walk, you gotta stumble through your career, stumble through your relationships until you learn to work on your own. Fight to love, fight to live. And sometimes you even have to fight to go to bed so that you can have a better tomorrow. You gotta sleep to protect your sanity. Fight with your fears and your doubts, your insecurities. Just fight through. And when you finish, you can gain some self-respect and the respect from others as well. People listen to you when they respect you. It is very hard sometimes to have people to listen to you, but that's one way to have people to listen to you, is finishing what you begin. One time when I was about to quit, in my quiet time, I had this message over and over. And it's something that I had read somewhere, which brings me to my second point. This is what I heard. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant. Yes. Don't judge your day by the harvest that you're reaping, but judge it by the seeds that you're planting today. So try not to focus on outcomes because they can be very deceptive. Focus on the process. I've read books that have moved me from one point to another. Some were borrowed, some I bought. So in both cases, the author will never know the impact they had in my life, but they planted a seed. They have no way to track that. They will never know. So that's why I'm saying outcomes are very deceptive. The late Maya Angelou said it best to Oprah when Oprah wondered what her legacy will be. So late Maya told her that your legacy is what you do every day. Your legacy is every life that you touch, every person whose life was either moved or not moved. It's every person that you helped. That's your legacy. Wow. So think, when your results are vague, your legacy will be every word you spoke or every word that you withheld. Sometimes it's what you don't say that will touch someone. It's every life that you impacted by watching your life. And that is hard to measure with likes on Facebook or on YouTube. So don't fixate on outcomes. Do your best every day. Be comfortable with working with some sort of vagueness. Worry about the seed that you plant today. And my last point is stick with something until completion. Even if it fails, it will lead you to something else. The founders of Google, they said that they tried many things in graduate school. And some things didn't work. And this is the advice they gave. They gave this advice that the more you stumble around, the more likely you will find something valuable. So before Google, they tried and failed to establish a system where students can order pizza by fax. This was before internet became mainstream. So it's the value of the failed fax order that made them realize that this wasn't, for them. And they stumbled into the next thing, which was internet page listing. When you finish, you learn something and you get better at something else. You stumble at something exciting. So it's what you discover while you're working. So finish one thing and go to the next. Create massively. Create. We're only familiar with the classics of Shakespeare, but would it surprise you to learn that in a span of 2 decades, he produced 37 plays and more than 100 poems? That's the art of finishing. These sticky notes here, no one set out to invent them. Instead, a chemist who was working at 3M was trying to invent a super strong adhesive that would stick to things. But it came up with a super weak one, this one. So he didn't know what to do with it. But one day, someone in his church choir became frustrated when bookmarks he was using to mark his place in the hymnal kept falling out. Then he remembered the chemist had an adhesive, so he tried to use it to bookmark. And the adhesive stayed in place. So he noticed, hey, I could use this without damaging my book pages. And guess what? The rest, they say, is history. This is a $1 million seller. So one failed thing leading you to the next thing because you finish. It's always the next book that you discover after reading through the current one. So the path to success is always a meandering series of events. That's the words of Steve Jobs. He said, you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. So trust the dots will somehow connect in the future. Finish what you start. So thank you so much for listening in today. Happy New Year. Thank you for all your support that you gave me in 2019. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time.